Hi everyone, I'm Paulette from Tulip Square, and this week I'm going to show you how to make this cute little block. It's called Old Gray Goose, and I don't know why it's called Old Gray Goose, but that's what it's called. And I'm going to show you how to make it. It's a nice easy pattern made with flying geese and half square triangles. Some of my favorite pieces to make. So let's head over to the sewing machine and get started. This week's block is called Old Gray Goose, and I don't know how it got its name, but that's what it's called. And I'm going to make it in some pretty Christmassy colors. You're going to need a white and 3 other colors, and I'm using gold, green, and red just to make it kind of festive looking. So you're going to start with just 2 white squares and 2 green squares, and you're going to pair them up. Make sure you got the right side of the white. And I'm going to draw a diagonal line down the middle of each of these. And then I'm going to sew on each side of that diagonal line. You're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on each side of that diagonal line, and do that on both of these pieces. Now after you've sewn a seam on each side of that line you drew, you're going to cut on that line. And you press these, pull these open, and press them towards the green, and you'll have 4 squares that look just like this. Now I'm going to set these aside for now. You've got 4 like this, and we're going to make some flying geese. Now if you don't know what flying geese are, they're pretty simple and very basic and very popular piece that goes in a lot of patterns. So you're going to take your rectangles like this, and you've got all these little squares. You're going to put them on one corner, and then you're going to sew a diagonal line like here. Now this time you don't sew on each side of the line you drew. You're going to sew right on the line you draw. If you draw a line, I'll draw a line on this one. But on flying geese you sew right on the line. You don't sew on each side of it. So now I'm going to sew right on that line I drew. And you're going to put a gold one on the right side of each one. So go ahead and put all 6 golds on. Now once you've got those all sewn down, you're just going to cut that corner off, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you're cutting off both layers, so don't open it or unfold it or anything. You're just leaving it just the way you sewed it. And cut off both layers and leave a seam allowance. Just like so. And then press these towards your colored corner. On the other half of each, now that you've got them pressed, just like so, you're going to take your green or your red, and you're going to put a second corner on each one. I'm going to do the same way, so diagonally right across here. Now, it's worth repeating that when you are sewing a diagonal line, it's easier to start from this end where you've got some extra fabric rather than starting from this end, because your sewing machine will have a tendency to kind of catch those and chew that end up. But if you start from here, there's another fabric there, so they don't seem to catch. So go ahead and sew all 6 of these with your red or green corners, and then trim the edge off and press them towards the corners. Now you've got 4 pieces like this and 2 like this. Now what you're going to do is take one of the pieces with the red. Actually, you're going to take 2 of the pieces with the red, and you're going to take 2 of your corners like this, and you're going to sew them like this with the greens on the ends like that. So do that with 2 of the red and gold flying geese, just like that. Now you've got 2 pieces like this. I'm just going to set those aside, and then I'm going to take these two pieces with the green, and I'm going to put them like this and sew them together. That center seam was a little thick, so I did press it open instead of one way or the other, and I did get a little sloppy with my center point, so don't do that. But I did. Okay, so now you're going to take this piece and you're going to sew one of these here and one of these here, just like that. Now all that's left to do is, now you've got, this is your center seam, and now all you have to do is sew this and this to it. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and it's all done. It's kind of a pretty little block, isn't it? Hope you like that one. And now you know how to make the old gray goose. Even if it's not old and it's not gray, it's still a cute block. And if you like our videos and you like to watch more of them and you want to be notified of them, hit the little notify bell, hit the like button, and of course hit the subscribe button. YouTube likes it when we get more subscribers. And if you need the PDF for this, it's in the description below. We always put a link for the free pattern PDFs for our blocks. So I hope you had a good week. No, I hope you will have a good week. And we'll see you again next week with a new video. Bye-bye.